Good day everyone, Leo Chase from Mythmaster here, with another custom Marvel Rivals character video. I used to do these weekly when I started it a year ago, but now it's slowed down. But I think I'll continue doing them, if you want me to. But yeah. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers before I turn 18 in May, so I'd be happy if you subscribed. But yes, this video is custom character concepts for the Lizard and Dr. Michael Morbius, two Spider-Man villains, for if they were in the newish game, Marvel Rivals. Suggest anyone you'd like me to make concepts for, and I'll probably get round to making them eventually. But yes, on with the video. Lizard would be a Vanguard with 650 HP and a difficulty of 2 stars. His passive ability, Reptilian Rage, would mean that on his 5th consecutive melee hit, he swipes with his tail, knocking back and damaging enemies in a large arc around him. His left click would be his primary fire would just be a melee hit, but his right click would be a leap, and if you leap to a wall, then basically you get another free leap. But if you leap to another wall, you don't get another free leap. But yes, this would have a 5-second cooldown, so he'd be quite an agile character. His first ability would be Toxic Waste. He'd have 3 charges and it would have a 10-second cooldown, and he'd throw a vial of chemicals at the targeted location, creating a pool of acid that periodically damages and stuns enemies. Evolutionary Instinct would allow him to unleash a roar where it gives him and nearby allies shield health proportional to how many enemies he has damaged in the last 5 seconds, be it via scratching them or his toxic chemicals or whatever. Chemical Concoction would have a 17-second cooldown, and this basically just means he does more damage depending on how much damage he takes while it's active, and his leap would be able to do AoE damage, which would help him with Evolutionary Instinct. His ultimate, Lacetilian Superiority, would let him pull out and drop 2 canisters that spray a large cloud of green gas everywhere around him in a large area. It lasts 10 seconds, obscure your enemy's vision, and their cooldowns would not decrease while they were in the area, but they could still use them if they, had them. Finally is his team up with Morbius, Reptoid Rush, which basically gives him an ability with a 45-second cooldown, but what it does is it charges Lizard forwards in a straight line, gaining shield health for each enemy he hits, and damaging them. Basically, it runs forward with his arms outstretched and raking his claws across any enemies. It's a good movement, but also just a good way for some extra damage. Lizard is a character who primarily works on chaining his attacks in order to pull out very successful evolutionary instincts, so that he and his teammates can stay in a fight. His cooldowns are all 10 or more seconds, which means he does have to be strategic with them, but he has 3 charges on one, and a fair amount of, quite a few abilities in general. He is both agile and tanky, but struggles to directly protect his team, so he's kind of a dive tank with a bit of brawl. A suggested combo would be use Toxic Waste to lock down areas, then use Chemical Concoction to boost yourself, leap in with Primal Leap, and start causing havoc with Saurian Slash. After this, you use Evolutionary Instincts to protect yourself and pop Lacetilian Superiority to restart the team fight. Before we move on to Morbius, I just want to say some other projects I'm working on, which include I've nearly finished making the pitch for Avengers Doomsday, which I started a long time ago, and it's a follow-up to my Young Avengers and Thunderbolts videos, so go watch them if you're looking forward to that. A video where I give Pokemon to my own super team, the Phoenix Champions, and also a video pitting Hawkeye against every MCU villain. So if you're looking forward to any of those, make sure you have the notifications bell on so you don't miss any of my uploads. Now, on to Morbius. My version of Morbius would be a 250 HP strategist with a difficulty of 3 stars and 2 passives. Blood Rush, which means while on full health, the healing he gives to his allies is increased and also his speed is increased. And Blood Banks, which is kind of his main healing thing, and it's when an enemy within 5 meters of him takes damage, him being Morbius, and nearby allies gain a small amount of health. So kind of a bit like Briggs Inspire in Overwatch. Like Lizard, his left click is a basic melee, but his right click is Telekinetic Glide, and while in midair, he can hold right click to fly forwards, healing himself and allies he goes by, with a maximum duration of 4 seconds, and once this finished, he'd have a 6-second cooldown. His next 2 abilities share the same cooldown, but have different buttons. Hypnotic Glare is probably the more interesting one, and it basically means you target an enemy, and for 3 seconds, if they try to move forwards, they move back. If they move back, they move forwards, and so on. Which I'm not actually sure how annoying that would be, but it could definitely lead to them accidentally putting themselves into a sticky situation. Hypnotic Suggestion, on the other hand, is quite simple. You pick an ally, and for the next few seconds, whenever they do damage, you heal health. Bat Swarm's also quite simple. You send out a swarm of bats, which heals allies and damages enemies that it hits, and then flies back to you, which I'm pretty sure is a bit like Invisible Woman's Primary Fire, but it'd be a lot bigger. And for his ultimate we have It's Morbin Time. You leap to the targeted area at high speeds, leaving a trail of bats that damages enemies who walk through it, and also unleashing an explosion of bats that heals you and nearby enemies proportional to the amount of enemies damaged. This would be in a very large area, and the bats would linger for about 5 seconds. Also, it'd obscure vision as well, and would just be very annoying. Finally, we come to the team up, which he's the anchor of, and it just increases his self-healing by 15%. Due to his passive blood bank, Dr. Michael Morbius works best when surrounded by a bunch of enemies and allies, and he only wants to be on the backline if he's about to die. And if he's about to die, he should either use one of his hypnotic attacks to either get the enemy off his back and glide away, or to benefit from an ally's rampage. His glide provides him some mobility and healing, and his bat swarm is an additional bit of healing and damage that he can just throw out. For a suggested combo, when Blood Rush is active, use Telekinetic Glide to get in close to your enemies and allies before sending out a quick bat swarm. Use Hypnotic Glare to make it harder for enemies to retreat out of range of blood banks, and pull out its Morbin Time to unleash a final explosion of healing and damage. Probably should have mentioned this earlier, but both Morbius and Lizard are mentioned in the lore of Marvel Rivals, which is one of the reasons I picked them for this video. Comment who you want me to do and I'll add it to my list of potential people to do, which, to be honest, is quite big. If you stuck around for this long, thank you for watching, have a good day, consider subscribing if you haven't already or checking out my other custom characters, the playlist for which should be in the comments, and ta-ta.